Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with our Jinx updated complete guide. Now this one is going to be a real interesting one because Jinx is now a lot stronger than she was in the last patch. As you guys saw, I've moved her up in my tier list from I think it was A or A plus now up to S tier because I truly believe that actually Jinx is really strong now, and it's mostly because of starting off with Bloodthirster as a first item with the classic new ADC combo of Gluttonous Greaves into Bloodthirster. Now this combo obviously gives you 35 AD and 7% Omnivamp from the Gluttonous Greaves into the 55 AD as well as the 12% physical Vamp from the Bloodthirster, in addition to of course the 15% attack speed as well as the bonus AD when you are above half health, which is normally the majority of the time. So gives you a huge injection of AD at the start, and of course you have lethal tempo as your rune, so you already have attack speed. And then for even more attack speed, you actually go into the Phantom Dancer. So Phantom Dancer obviously of course gives you a little bit of AD, gives you the attack speed, and of course allows you to stack up for getting an extra 25% attack speed. And it's pretty much the item that gives you the most attack speed in the game. So of course that is going to be very logical as a second item. Now you do have a second option for a second item, which is going to be the Magnetic Blaster. So Magnetic Blaster obviously gives you a little bit less attack speed, but what it gives you instead is that AoE attack against 5 people and the additional range. Now personally, I just prefer the more attack speed and the movement speed I get from Phantom Dancer compared to of course the Magnetic Blaster, but I can perfectly understand if people want to go for the Magnetic Blaster. I think it's perfectly viable, but it's just not my preference. And then of course we top it up with a Infinity Edge. Of course this is going to give you more AD and of course the crit rate, and by this point you're at 75% crit with a lot of AD. And finally, as our last crit item, we have the Maul Reminder, which of course gives you the Armor Pen, the Grievous Wounds, as well as getting you to 100% crit. And of course, as your last item, you have the usual suspects. Of course, you have a GA, if you need the armor and the revive. You of course have an offensive option, which is going to be Runan's Hurricane, which is pretty nice because Jinx used to go for like Runan's second item, but she doesn't really do that anymore because after you got like your Phantom Dancer and like your Rapid Fire Cannon kind of items there, most people start realizing that those single target items are better than Runan's, which is AoE, because you want to kill one person to get a reset, and then afterwards you actually are better off that way instead of like, getting 3 people to low health but not killing any of them, which is what happens often with Runan's. But of course, now with Runan's not being a crit item and actually giving you only attack speed and AD, it's actually a really good last item because obviously you get attack speed, you get the AD, you get of course the attacks that split into 3, and don't forget that this scales off of your AD. It's 55% AD, and it also can critically strike. So at this point when you get Runan's last item, you're gonna have a lot of AD, especially from your Bloodthirster and from your IE. A lot of AD, so a lot of damage to the other 2 targets, and also it's gonna crit on every attack because you're at 100% crit already. And you also get of course the extra on-hit damage, which is really nice as well. So Runan's is a really good last item for offensive option. And then for more defensive options, we have the Magic Defense option, which is the Maw. Of course, and then we also have the shield for from Sterex, also with the health and the boost to your AD. And finally, we actually have Crown as well for the anti-burst. Generally, it's the same kind of last item options for all the ADCs. It's always going to be like Crown, Sterex, Maw, and like Guardian Angel. So a lot of options, and probably an offensive option for a majority of ADCs as well. So for the runes, as I mentioned, lethal tempo for the attack speed. You could technically go for Conqueror, but you're only going to get attack speed from Phantom Dancer, so I don't really like that too much. Brutal, of course, for the on-hit damage against champions. Especially now we can see the runes. Brutal consistently outputs like over 1,000 damage like per match, so it's generally really reliable rune for ADCs. Giant Slayer, because honestly, after you see the rune statistics, Giant Slayer is just obviously the best rune, way better than Coup de Grace in like 99% of matches, so generally Giant Slayer is just a good pickup. And of course Bloodline for even more Omnivamp. You could go for Alacrity here for more attack speed, that would be okay as well. And of course Bone Plating or Overgrowth for a defensive option. And finally you want to go for Flash and you want to go for Ghost. So Ghost of course allows you to run all over the place, and especially when you get resets, it's gonna combo together with your resets to run people down more easily, and also of course also to run away, which you will see later on in the gameplay. But Exhaust is also an option, but I just generally don't like it because generally if someone jumps onto you, you're probably gonna die anyway. If you exhaust, you might survive, but I just think Ghost is way better just for the movement speed and the repositioning. But anyways, with all of that out of the way, let's jump into our gameplay. Okay, so now moving on to the gameplay. Obviously, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I will be sure to address them, or at least give it a like. Okay, so as you guys can obviously see from the title of the video, from the thumbnail, etc., blah blah blah, it's gonna be a banger. We are gonna be doing really well. We're obviously gonna get a pentakill. That's no real spoiler because it's already in the title and stuff. I always put it on the title if I get a pentakill because you know, obviously, why wouldn't I? But anyways, here. The most key thing about Jinx is she has completely no mobility in terms of she doesn't have a dash, which basically means if someone gets on top of you, let's say in this match, if Riven is on top of you, you're basically almost guaranteed to be dead. Now, the only way that you can survive is if you have your summoner spells up. Let's say a Riven goes on top of you, you are able to, let's say, QSS her stun and flash away, or if you have someone to protect you. So in this case, as you guys can see here, I'm duo with the Lulu, so I've actually asked for Lulu support so that Lulu can protect me. Now, basically, the real reason why Jinx and Lulu is pretty much the strongest Jinx lane possible is because Lulu can cover up for Jinx's weakness by protecting her. Now, what do I mean by that? If someone jumps onto Jinx, she can ult Jinx to knock up that person, or she can polymorph that person, and she even can shield Jinx. Also, she can slow down anyone who's trying to chase Jinx, and basically, Lulu is pretty much just the best support for Jinx. Now, close behind is other like enchanters like Yuumi, for example, but Lulu is simply just better because Yuumi just gives you more damage and heals you a lot, whereas Lulu can actually peel assassins off of you, and pretty much Jinx just wants to play with enchanters who can protect her. Of course, other enchanters like Soraka or Janna could work as well, but just not as well as a Lulu would work. What Jinx generally doesn't want is she doesn't really want to play tank support, so she doesn't really need someone to engage for her. She just needs someone to protect her, and majority of tank supports are not going to stand next to you and just protect you. Like, you're not going to have a Leona that's standing by her side ready to use all her CC while you're getting jumped on. And here you can see the Ghost come into play, where basically we saw Janna and Volley coming in for the gank, and we actually just popped the Ghost and are able to actually outrun them, and we're actually able to pretty much escape, and not just escape, but we actually, on our way out, managed to actually get in some good poke and bring Janna and Zeri both to half health. So we actually end up winning out on the trade despite getting ganked by Volibear. Pretty much because Volibear couldn't reach us at all. So it pretty much just ends up working out. So this sends Zeri and Janna back to the base. So here we're just trying to quickly shove out this wave before we reset. And there we have it. So here they obviously just reach back into the lane. Looks like we might get frozen on outside the tower. Somewhat does, but there's not too much we can do here. Obviously, we can't really fight when Zeri has like a Sheen and a Phage, and we have only a longsword. So we need to, of course, back and get items, and of course that will put us on more level terms with our counterpart. So, needless to say, Jinx's early game is pretty tame, it's pretty weak, but make no mistake, it's not horrible. Why is it not horrible? Basically, it's because you have your rockets. With your rockets, you pretty much have one of the highest ranges compared to other ADCs. Of course, Caitlyn is still slightly higher, and Ashe is competitive, but pretty much to any other ADC, your rocket is actually going to outrange them. So you always want to be using your rockets to poke them, and if you see a Jinx who never uses rockets to poke, means that's a pretty bad Jinx, because one of the few ways you can prevent yourself from getting engaged on is to chunk the enemies out, or like chip away at them so that they have low health and they're dissuaded from, you know, going in on you. So here for some reason the Zeri and the Janna go for a mid lane roam, which is really strange. So in the meanwhile, we're just getting plates for free basically, which I don't mind at all. Zeri comes in back to lane, and I'm just going to chip away at her with my E, and here I'm just blasting with my autos, and now I'm switching to rockets and blasting with the rockets as well. Of course, Glacial does cut my damage by a little bit, but you know, any poke is good. You can see there once again with the rockets poking Jinx. Now of course sometimes, not poking Jinx, poking Zeri down, but of course sometimes you're going to accidentally target minions, that's fine. But you always want to be trying to poke here, especially here I have minions. When they poke back, the minions will actually aggro them, and we're pretty much going to be more favorable in the trade. So here the reason why we don't want to back is because we have Nautilus in the region farming the enemy Raptors. So if a fight breaks out here, we're going to be at an advantage because Nautilus should be able to just rotate over, of course unless he's blind, and just help us out. Now here I'm trying to get the snipe on the Ahri, but unfortunately Volley is in the way and ends up not really working out. However, it's still a good attempt generally as Jinx. If you see a low HP target on the map, you want to try to snipe them like 9 out of 10 times, unless it's like right before a crucial fight where you need your ult. If not, it's always worth it to try to get those kills, and of course it just feels great to hit those rockets, and if not, you don't lose too much by using a rocket anyway. So here we are able to secure the Mountain Dragon, and here a fight ensues. Now here Volibear is actually surprisingly tanky just from his ulti, from Janna's ulti and stuff. You can see I'm focusing him down. I'm trying to get the reset, but he takes way too long to die, and by then my team is kind of evaporated. I get hit by Ahri Charm, and I really have nowhere to run. I get the reset onto Ahri right before I die. I was considering flashing, but I don't think I make it over the wall, and I think I would die regardless, so no point wasting a Crucial Summoner spell. So we just take death, and overall we get, you know, a kill and an assist. So 1-1 and 1 now, finally some action happening in the game. It's not the worst, but not the best either. One of the key issues here is that Janna and Zeri are actually alive. So they're actually basically just getting back all of the plates that they lost from their tower. And they basically got all of the plates, except getting the tower itself. So that's, of course, a bummer. Here I'm trying to take a trade. Lulu is still making her way back to lane. I get hit by the Janna Tornado and I'm taking a lot of damage, but Lulu finally makes it back for the ulti. I get the root onto Janna and I get the reset, which allows me to chase down the Zeri. Zeri tries to pop the barrier, but here's the flash I saved from earlier, which allows me to pick up the double kill. This is just a prime example of how you should not waste your summoner spells if you already know you're going to be dead. Because what would have happened here if that happened is I would have wasted my flash, I would have died, and here I wouldn't have flashed to try to chase the kill onto Zeri, and I would have just been left with only a Janna kill, which isn't bad, but of course, killing both of them is better than just killing one of them. So here this actually opens up the map to allow us to take down the tower. Of course, it's no longer first tower with the Herald in the mid lane. I'm taking down the first tower for the enemy team, but we are still able to, you know, get fed off of, like, you know, killing the tower and also killing both of them. And you can see that our goal state now is actually pretty good. We're at 6k goal, which is only slightly behind the Zeri, who is also at 3 kills. So the key thing to note here is Jinx and Zeri are both champions that want to scale. So basically they're both kind of looking for 3 items. Zeri ends up getting the tower, not much I can do to defend. But we both want to scale, we both want to get to 3 items. So it's pretty much a race to see who can get to 3 items faster. And whoever can get there is basically going to be able to carry the game for their team. So we want to be ahead of the curve, we want to be ahead of the Zeri if we can. Here, Nautilus gets a catch out onto Janna. I get the slow down and Nautilus finishes the kill. Unfortunately, we can't really chase Zeri. You can see I'm not really doing too much damage to her at the moment. And of course, we have completed our Bloodthirster Gluttonous Greaves combo, which is of course going to, you know, allow us to deal a lot of damage, as well as giving us that insane you know, physical vamp. And here Zeri is actually at mid lane at the moment, so we're just going to slowly rotate. And we see Nautilus in trouble, we're trying to help him out. He is able to hook himself away, and here we're trying to blast the Ahri, which we do manage to get, and then we're going for the Zeri next. Zeri has to pop the flash. And here we get another blast in. Here I'm thinking to ult her as this will kill. Unfortunately, Janna's shield comes in and kind of blocks majority of the ult damage, and she is still, you know, relatively healthy, at least in the context that I expected her to straight up die there. So that's pretty unfortunate, but you know, that's just the way it is. So now here we're going to reset, pick up more items, and the main reason we're going to do this is not, it's not because we have anything good to buy. We can see we only got a glove and a dagger, but we really have nothing better to do. There's no jungle up to farm here on either side of the map, and it's not safe to go up to farm the minion wave because we didn't have vision. Now we actually can see 2 enemies down there, so it's a little bit safer. We still don't know where Zeri is though, so it's still, you know, kind of dangerous. We can see Ahri going down now. You can see I'm leaning to the left so that Ahri doesn't just walk into the bush and just come and chase me down. So here I spot the tower really low. I know that there's a kind of a skirmish breaking on the bottom lane, so here I'm just focusing the tower to just try to get the tower down, which I do manage to get. And then now I'm using the reset of the tower to try to blast somebody. Unfortunately, Ahri makes her getaway. Here I'm just blasting the volley, trying to free fire, dodging the majority of the enemy spells, or actually all the enemy spells. Now here Riven jumps on top of me and I'm able to flash away before she gets her stun. Now here I've actually run out of mana to cast my rockets. I'm gonna just have to use my miniguns. I get the reset onto the Ahri. I'm blasting the low HP Volibear. I'm able to get him with the last of my rockets. Lulu ults me. I get double, the triple, and here is where the resets just come in. Look at that attack speed from the Lethal Tempo, and here is the Pentakill at the 9th minute of the game, and as I mentioned just now, this is of course not a game-winning pentakill because it's only 9 minutes in the game. We're not going to end the game off of this, but the real reason why this is crucial is I've just got 5 kills worth of gold. And now I'm 9-1-2 with close to 10k gold. That's huge now. Secondly, our team gets the dragon. That's not really that huge because even if we get dragon, so it's not too big of a deal. I pick up the fruit here to get the mana in case another fight breaks out. Volley Bear just nice comes in. I get the dragon somehow, and Volley Bear is just getting pelted by me. I get a 6th kill and even more gold for me. Now here I don't want to play too aggressively. I have not backed it. I have not gotten my items, whereas the enemy team has, so I don't want to fight here. I'm pinging my team to retreat. And at the same time, I'm picking up the blue buff so I can have the mana to blast with my rockets. And now I'm going to pick up my entire Phantom Dancer as well as both the IE components. So of course, this is going to accelerate me to basically 2.5 items at this point. And as of now, I'm pretty much hard winning the race with Zeri to reach 3 items. And I should be able to get to that point to carry my team way before her. And it should be pretty good for my team as long as Lulu is able to protect me and I don't end up inting. So here, unfortunately, Nautilus was not able to stall for enough time for us to push mid. Now, he was a dead to rights, but we could have tried to push mid. Here, Zeri's way overextended. We spot her trying to back, so I'm actually going to use my rocket to interrupt her back. And she's not actually trying to just run away, but she's not going to be able to because me and Lulu are cutting her off, and we pick up another quote-unquote free kill onto the Zeri. Now, that's a really creative use of the ulti, which is to, of course, ult to cancel a recall. It's not something I see Jinxes doing very often, and that's a really underrated use of the ulti. Of course, you have the classic one, which is to kill someone, to try to KS your opponent, try to steal a Baron maybe, or even get Baron Vision, but one of the rare use cases of Jinx ult is to stop a recall. So anyways, here, off of the kill, we can pick up our IE. So now we're at 3 items, and now we're ready to carry our team. Speaking of carry the team, here is a fight that's about to break out. I'm trying to make my way there as fast as possible. Rocket goes wide. Here I end up having to deal with the Riven, who is kind of in the bottom side of the fight. Don't want to be the one face checking the bush, so I'm going to let Tryndamere go first. Nautilus engages in with the ult and the hook, and now I'm just blasting the Janna. Janna's at 1 HP, but she's out of vision. I'm just blasting the volley now. I get the reset onto the volley, flash the wall to finish off the Janna as well. Arguably may not even have been worth to waste flash for Janna, but we are able to get rid of 3 members of the enemy team, whereas only Nautilus died. So now we're going to go for Baron. To note here is that both junglers are actually dead, so this is actually kind of risky if like Ahri or Zeri comes to contest. You know, could be problematic, but they don't actually end up doing that, so we end up picking up a free Baron, and we are going to be able to recall and pick up our Stasis. Of course, since we're very fed, Stasis is a really good pickup to try to get ourselves, you know, some level of safety. Now here you can see Vladimir just picking up the whole wave for himself, and this is going to be a trend. Basically, the whole game, me and Vladimir are always trying to farm the same wave, the same jungle monster or whatnot, and he's basically, of course, Vladimir has insane burst, whereas Jinx doesn't really. So he's generally just gonna end up stealing a lot of my farm, which did annoy me the entire game. But hey, you know what can you do about it? Nothing much. So here, we're just gonna go on the mid wave. We're just gonna clear out this mid wave. We don't really have a good idea of where the enemy team is. Mostly in the top side, I believe. There we go. We actually can see 3 enemy members in the top side. And here I think this is a mistake. I actually end up going for the blue buff, but I think I should have just gone straight for the fight. Because here I'm gonna actually ult and actually hit the ulti on the Ahri, which is able to pick up my team a kill. And unfortunately though, nothing too much else happens after that. Until now, where we're actually gonna go for the tower and also the rest of the kills. So here we actually pick up the kill on Janna as well. And here we're in a very, very commanding position. We are gonna pick up the inhibitor. And here we should have just backed. So here, you know, we're having a little bit too much fun. Here, Nautilus tanking the tower. Here, I'm just trying to blast some enemies. Riven coming in, I get knocked up and stunned, but I take no damage. Riven goes down. Zeri is pretty much almost at 1 HP, and for some reason, Nautilus flashes in and tries to kill her. Here, I actually almost end up ending the game, but the respawns start coming in from the enemy team, and we can't really do that. Ahri is now coming in. For some reason, she auto-targets the charm to the Tryndamere, I believe, and I actually end up being safe. Of course, I was trying to get ready to dodge the charm, but It wasn't even necessary eventually. So here, I'm able to actually get the ult from Lulu as well as, of course, get some fruit. So I'm actually pretty healthy, but now the enemy team is engaging on us, and we're trying our best to disengage because we don't really want to fight here because we haven't had the chance to spend our gold on items once again. Here my whole team dies. I'm going to have to flash the Ari charm so that I don't just get one shot. And I give over my like roughly 10 kill shutdown. That wouldn't be good. But unfortunately here, my team all dies, and we're going to have to just back and start building towards the wall reminder. In the meanwhile, the enemy team picks up the Infernal Dragon, which basically means we won't get Mountain Dragon Soul, which is, of course, a little bit sad, but you know, Soul is not too important, at least compared to the old Triple Dragon. So here, in the meantime, nothing to do, so we're going to just farm up these wolves. And of course, we're just finding stuff to farm on the map. So here, we're going to move on to the Raptors, using the rockets to get the AoE to kill them faster. Moving on to the red buff. It's not too important that we give Nautilus a red buff because Nautilus is building full AP anyway, and the red buff won't help him too much. So for the sake of saving time, we're just going to quickly pick up the red buff for ourselves, and we also get enough to finish off our Mole Reminder. So now in this match, I'm going to have to, of course, make a decision as to what last item I want to go. I could, of course, go for a GA or Sterex, of course, for the safety. But in this game, I'm actually thinking of going for Runans because there have been a lot of team fights where Runans would have been really, really helpful. And also, I'm safe majority of the time, especially because of Lulu, but also because we have been positioning relatively well. As I say that, I end up just eating a Volibear E to the face. Here, Ari comes up with the charm on the side. And here, unfortunately, I am able to actually kite back for a while, but I do eventually end up dying to the Riven because Lulu actually ulted the Vladimir instead of me, so I actually end up dying there. If I was ulted instead of the Vladimir, I believe that, you know, Riven wouldn't have flashed on me in the first place, and we would have actually survived and hopefully, you know, won the fight. But anyway, speaking of winning the fight, Vladimir is kind of solo doing that for us, just kiting out the Riven over here. Riven gives up the chase, and this kind of just shows you how strong Vladimir like really is. Can see that you know, Vladimir just look at the lifesteal and just you know, look at you know, damage, the survivability of Vladimir. That's kind of why I hate playing against Vladimir. It can be really annoying if you're against a good Vladimir player. So anyways, we do actually finally, of course, end up dying. I believe you know, Riven did end up getting the kill, so she is getting a pretty big payday with you know, the 1,000 gold shutdown, and we probably now have a shutdown not reset, but still carrying over as well. Here you can see once again I'm trying to farm the wave, and Vladimir just comes over, one shots the wave, and you know, just goes on his way. Here Elder Dragon is actually spawning in 10 seconds, so we want to make our way toward the Elder Dragon pit. Of course, Nautilus kind of at the wrong place. So here, three of us are heading towards the pit, whereas Vladimir and Nautilus find themselves in a fight. Nautilus gets comboed like pretty much 100 to 20% health, and that's no good because we now need to wait for Nautilus to reset. In the meantime, I'm actually catching out the Janna. I almost kind of got the pick on her, but of course this does force her to use all of her spells to escape. In the meanwhile, fight breaks out in the bottom lane. Nautilus ends up dying, which is not good because Elder Dragon is up, but Vladimir picks up the 2 kills, and overall we traded 1 for 2, so we just need to stop the enemy team from doing Elder and hopefully pick a fight with them instead, which is going to be a lot more ideal than fighting an Elder, because Volibear of course is there to smite, whereas we don't actually have a jungle. So here we're just going to quickly pick up this tower with the reset, just go ahead and try to blast a little bit. But you know, with the enemy team backing off, we can focus down the inhib and pick up this inhib as well. And yeah, so here we're actually looking to fall back onto the dragon. Nautilus is still like 10 seconds away from respawning, so ideally we can start it, but we want to do it slow because we don't want Volibear to just hop in and steal it. So we have two options, either do it slow or burst it down. Now, I realize that these people are not going to do it slow, so I might as well just kind of contribute. You can see I'm kind of walking around trying to ping them retreat, but eventually I decide it's a better idea to burst it down, which I should have just committed to from the start. Anyways, Volibear kind of goes in without vision. I'm focusing volley. We get the kill on volley, we get the Elder Dragon, and now we're going in for the rest of the enemy team. Now you can see we're just basically just blasting everybody at this point, and we of course pick up a quadra kill. No penta because someone already died before we got the first kill on volley. And off of that, we're of course able to end the game. Enemy team surrenders, same deal. And of course, I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.